Okay, this is another happy salad production of how to make some super bread slash cookies. You can add whatever you want to it. We got these are the options we're going with though. One neat thing I like to note too is that you compare this right here, just 1 cup of like wheat flour, we could say, versus a 1/4 cup of flax powder. Just hold this here for you so you can kind of see the conversion factors. So basically, a 1/4 cup of wheat has about 5 grams of whole wheat, though a 1/4 cup of flax has about 18 grams of protein. So that's about 4 times more protein in contrast there. So, and it's just part of the protein chains or the amino acids. There's more to it. But anyways, we'll get to it here. You can grind up about anything. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna grind up the rice. Look at that wonderful rice flour. Oh. Almonds. Half a cup of almonds here. You don't have to follow the ratios I'm using at all. The main thing you want to go for is that it's, palatable to you. Like it's sweet enough or not sweet enough. So all this stuff's gonna taste great. And also a tip, if you're doing like nuts or something that has fat, you're gonna want to add something light like this, so you kind of soak up some of that fat so it doesn't plug up your blender or your grinder as you're grinding. You hear mine struggling a little bit there. A little too much almond, not enough flour. We'll see what that looks like. Let me add more of those chunks back in there. See the bottom of my thing? I think it's all caked up there. This was kind of thick too. It's good for you. It's all the good stuff, but it just it's gonna wear out your blender pretty fast. So the trick for that is, or solution for that is, balance it out. Like I put too much almonds in there. In contrast, really, I should have done less almonds and just throw in some flour. Just looking for any more chunks. You don't want to hurt anybody's teeth if they're expecting a soft cookie or a soft piece of bread, and there's a big old chunk of almond in there. Okay, I think that's not really feeling any chunks there. Okay. Add some corn to it too. Some rice, some corn, some wheat. Let's see, we'll do half a cup of corn. Everybody usually gets enough corn usually in the world. But some special amino acids and other nutritional building blocks. That's already kind of ground up, but it's in a grit form, so I'm going to make it more of a flour form. Because it's all about increasing the surface to mass ratio so it can absorb the moisture better and faster, basically. Same principles as working with a fire. Let's cut more almonds here. Looks pretty good. And barely caked to the bottom, but it still happens sometimes. Probably if I started with the flour on the bottom first, that might help. It's kind of a learning process still. So I'll put a 1/4 cup of flax in here too so far. This here is about 18 grams of protein just in that little 1/4 cup, which is pretty awesome. The almonds are obviously pretty high in protein too, and other great factors. I'm going to do a half a cup of some sunflower seeds too. in the coffee grinder, $10 coffee grinder. Maybe it was $12. I don't know. But it's the low-end coffee grinder. But not the lowest end though, because I got an even lower end one, and that thing freaking broke like the first day or something. Like, I don't know, it was pretty disappointing with that one. Like they're really cheap on the design. Like they didn't account for just general electrical considerations of heat transfer and stuff, really. So anyways, whatever. Half a cup of sunflower seeds. And again, these are oily, so you're going to want to add some flour. I'm going to jump over to some wheat flour, some whole wheat flour. And again, if I was learning faster, I would probably put this on the bottom, but it's okay, I'll mix it around. And it doesn't even, just kind of, that should probably be a good amount. And then again, that's so the seed oils don't cake up the grinder too much. You know, I can already hear the grinder working hard. I don't know if you do. But it's saying, oh, it's hard. That means it's going to get hot too and break. So don't want to do that. But sunflowers are pretty soft, so don't have to grind them up too much anyways. But look at that, came out clean too. Mostly. Which is nice, makes it easier. Yep. My anti-caking agent of choice would be any kind of flour. Don't need to use some weird sounding stuff. Alright, so I'll chunk up all in there, put that in there. And pretty soon here we're going to start adding our sugars. So let's see, I'm going to pause it if you want. And I'm going to do half a cup of oats here. And again, it's kind of chunky oats, so I want to grind it up a little better. And like the ancient Romans did, though, with their concrete aqueducts that are still around, they use different sizes of aggregates or rocks and stones and such in their concrete mix to add structural support. Which I'm saying this for cookie purposes. If you have it all fine flour, it's not going to stick together as good necessarily, maybe, as if you have some aggregates or chunks of like oats in themselves are pretty flat, so that helps increase their surface to mass ratio for cooking in time with everything else too. Though these oats are kind of little chunks, I'm gonna grind these ones up. And while I'm grinding these up, I'm also going to add in some pistachios too. Do a half a cup for that. Okay, so we got more like a quarter cup of pistachios, or a third a cup. Put those in there, grind it up. One of the best investments I ever got is this little coffee grinder. Probably Procter & Gamble or something. Thanks, guys. Okay, you can pause it. I'm gonna grind it a little more. You gotta listen to your grinder. If it's starting to sound weird, it means it's probably plugging up down there. They're really got high fat content here, it looks like. Kind of caked up a lot there, but it's okay. Works out. And again, tons of nutrients in this. I'm not gonna go into the details of it right now. And then let's see what's next. Probably about time for sugar. Did I miss any core? I didn't do much wheat yet. I'm gonna do some more wheat, but I'm gonna put the wheat in here with my salt. Cause I got some salt chunks, so I'm gonna try to grind those up and spread them out. And same with the sugar too. I like to kind of spread it out. Here's some salt from the Bahamas. But this is non-iodine salt. It's probably too much. Probably about that much there. Put that in there. And I also got some iodized sea salt, also from the Bahamas. As close as I've ever been. And how much salt you add? And then how much salt you add is probably about not more than 3 to 5% of your overall mass you're going to end up with. So a little salt goes a long way. And you can always add a little more, but you can't really take it back. So let the flour settle. And let's see, I still got some chunks in there. I got it all chopped up. And so we got here, it looks like about 4 or 5 cups worth of grain so far. And so you want to add about half or less than half if you want like a cookie. Again, you want to do all your dries before your wets. So I'm gonna do a cup of sugar here. I'm gonna do another cup of sugar because we're going more for a cookie thing here to make kids happy and eat their good food. So do 2 cups of sugar to start off with. Should be pretty good. You might add more if you need. Blend this all up. I'm using brown sugar because it has, so it's got some of its vitamins and nutrients in it still. I guess we're good. And then sometimes I like to add some pumpkin pie spice to help kind of season it up, and some cinnamon too, of course. This time though, I'm gonna use some chocolate, some chocolate chips here. I'm gonna put those in there. Oh, and I forgot to do chia seeds. Some chia seeds too. And chia seeds are one of those ones where you got to add some flour to it. And they're also fairly high in protein. Actually, they're even higher in protein than flax. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's ridiculous, this focus on this super fancy high-tech phone. Yeah, 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of protein. That's nice. Wow. You see the conversion on that. Go ahead. A little more probably. That's probably good. Sounds like it's getting kind of clogged in the bottom. So we added some flour, and we're adding some dark chocolate. Chocolate's a plant from a tree, so it's a vegetable. Just like pizza. Very good, yeah.
Still got some chunks.
Okay. Shake it gentle. Don't hit the bearings. Looks well mixed now. Okay. Cocoa powder chased with whole wheat flour. Is cinnamon good with chocolate? Never really had that combo before. We thought about it. We'll add a little bit of cinnamon. Okay, so once you got all your super flour mixed up real good, now it's time to dump half of it in your backup bowl, or a third of it in your backup bowl. So that way, when you're adding your oils and stuff, you're not going to end up with too much oil and have to make more flour. You already have your extra flour, so you can get it back to whatever dough consistency you're looking for. The whole thing's rolling a little bit. I'm gonna take a little more out. That's probably good. Now we got enough room to work with our liquids and stuff. And then now we start adding our oils and stuff here. Doing some vegetable oil, and this has tocopherols, or vitamin E A, I believe the type is called. It's sunflower oil, or not sunflower oil. What is this? This is soybean oil. Blah blah blah. Soybean oil. Yeah. So yeah, tocopherol type A from North America. And then I want to jump in and grab some tocopherol type Y from the Europe nations, or some olive oil, and boom, we jump to Europe. Adding in some, just a little bit of, you know, other old world oil too. Because we got, I mean, I like to add a couple of salts from different places too when I do this, but we only got I can't find some of my other jars. My mom probably took them. Add a little milk to it. And I'm using milk instead of water for multiple reasons. One being that makes your eggs fluffy if you're making scrambled eggs. So I'm gonna make my cookies fluffy, or my bread fluffy too. They're farm-fed chickens too. They get to eat all kinds of super grains themselves, like millet and milo and buckwheat, etc., sunflower seeds, all that good stuff. And let's see, I'm gonna add just a pinch of water too. I'm gonna pause. Okay, so we added a pinch of water, and by a pinch of water, I did like half a quarter cup's worth. So like 30 milliliters. A quarter cup is 60 milliliters, so I did about that much water, so like 30 milliliters, not much, like a little sip or medium sip or something you could call it too. And now we just mix it all together, and then once we get this stuff mixed up pretty good, then we'll add in some vanilla, because that's a liquid also, but we don't want it to cake into one area more than anything else. So you can add more eggs too if you want to make it extra protein and extra nutrients and stuff, make it like a nice meal bar. Okay, so that's fairly mixed in there. Now I'll add some vanilla. And we'll do about half of this, maybe, or not even half of that, just like four teaspoons worth. I think that's about accurate. 2 teaspoons worth so far, maybe. What do you think? Should we add some more?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make it another couple teaspoons worth. Shoot, I just put the rest of the jar in there. No, I'm just kidding. I'll save enough just for a little splash for something else. So start mixing that in good. And you don't have to do it this way. This just seems to be the best way to me. That way everything's kind of evenly distributed flavor-wise. So I got some junior bakers here that sometimes will just, you know, add the baking soda like at the wrong time or something. They add baking soda and I'll be like, tastes a lot of baking soda there in that cookie. And they're like, whatever, excuses. But yeah, if you do it this way, then it seems a little better. So now we'll go ahead and add some of our flour we set aside back in until we get to the consistency we're looking for. And then I like to make a little taste tester cookie in the microwave, maybe, or on the pan, just to make sure it's sweet enough and flavorful enough, that sort of thing, before I go through finalizing the whole batch. And that's because I don't usually measure stuff. You kind of you know, throw it in there and know what the general ratios I'm working with. And you basically make it to taste, make the flavor, make it to what tastes good to you. Which that can vary a little bit. You want more salt, you want more sugar, you know, it's up to you. up to your body sometimes too, and what it needs. It'll let you know sometimes. Speaking of that, the interesting thing about sugar, right? We all like sugar. Well, sugar takes the place in our body of at least 6 nutrients. Like magnesium is one of them. I can't think of all of them offhand. It's been years since I've read it. So, but yeah, it's an interesting concept that if you're craving sugar, your body's actually really craving one of 6 other things. Like I think salt's on there too, but magnesium, probably sodium, and potassium. The key functions of heart function, or the key nutrients of heart function, and other things like that. And I'm not sure. Like no one says if sugar can actually transmutate into those vital nutrients. That would be kind of neat, but that would interfere with a lot of markets, so it's probably not true. And then, whatever. But I'll just stop talking about that stuff right now. Just get back to making bread. Mixing the dough. Getting to where it's about construction grade wall concrete. And then you're ready for cookies. Or bread, if you want less sugar. But bread and cookies are basically the same thing, guys. This one has more sugar or no sugar, or very little sugar. I can almost guarantee most of the bread you like does have a little bit of sugar in it. And some sugar is good for you. Too much is no good. Speaking of, like, if you look at like a can of Pepsi, there's 40 grams of sugar in a can of Pepsi. Wow, that's a lot, a little more than that actually, but let's see here. And again, each cookie here is probably going to have about 20 grams of protein, so maybe more. I didn't do the math exactly on it. Focus on me too. And then once you get it mixed real good, you either bake it in cookies in the oven, bake it in the microwave if you wanted. I don't recommend that because of what a microwave does. Though, you even pan fry it like flatbread or pan cookies. But pan cooking, they can burn pretty quickly. So you gotta really flip them regularly. But you can have yourself a cookie in a few minutes that way versus waiting 30. So that's a consideration. You can also make your own granola that way too. And with pan cookies, I like to start with a little oil. Get your oil nice and hot, about 30 seconds or so. And this way you get to skip past the preheating oven times and stuff like that too, if you want. So this is what the dough looks like so far. And something that looks like it maybe have ground up a little bit better. I don't know if it's showing up good or not. And also letting it soak for a little while, it allows it to soften up the grains more too. Sometimes people recommend letting it sit for a while. And that's what I do with most of this. And that's also the reason why I added that little bit of water to kind of soften up the grains. Yeah, the oil is probably about ready here. Set this down. Yeah, it doesn't take very long in the pan. Can't smell it, but I can smell when it's ready to be flipped from here. Yeah, just re-smash it down into a cookie shape. That's the nice thing about oil.